Will the MMA Dude, back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 102, here with my always brilliant co-host, the Fight Geek. Fight Geek, what's up, bro? How you doing tonight?
Doing excellent, man. Happy to be back talking fights with you. How you doing?
Doing well. We've got a lot to discuss today, folks. Here's what's on tap. First, my opening question for Fight Geek. After that, we're jumping into a UFC 262 Oliveira versus Chandler recap and review. After that, it's UFC Vegas 27 Font versus Garbrandt preview and picks. We're going to very quickly touch on Bellator 259, Cyborg versus Smith 2. Then it's on to my favorite section, listener questions and more. Whew, that's a lot, Fight Geek. But I've got my opening question for you, and here it is. It actually comes from a listener, from our friend Judah Peru 1984, and he says, here's my question. After Khabib crushed the 155 division and left it in ruins, don't you feel all the knee champs are inferior? What I mean is, could you call yourself king of the division, like Charles Oliveira does, as the world's #1 lightweight, knowing that a guy literally broke that division's back? So, Fight Geek, in other words, can Charles Oliveira call himself the legitimate UFC best in the world 155 lightweight?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but, do I consider Charles Oliveira after this past weekend to be a credible sitting champion? Yes, I definitely do. I think it absolutely helps his case that he had never fought Khabib before, so I think that leads a little bit to the imagination it's inconclusive in what a match would look like between the two. And yes, the fact that Khabib is retired and has now moved past the sport, that doesn't mean the lightweight division ceases to exist forever. That means that one era is over and a new era is being ushered in. The fact that Oliveira never fought Khabib and that he's clearly in his prime on a 9-fight winning streak, I mean, I don't know what more you'd want from a champion. As far as active lightweights go, it's clear that, the winner of Conor versus Poirier versus Oliveira, that fight, I feel like is very important historically to kind of see where they stand. Let's say, Poirier were to lose the belt or win the belt long term. Well, Khabib has a win over him. If Conor were to figure out the equation and become the champion, well, Khabib has a win over him. But what if Charles Oliveira finds a way to beat, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, and then Dustin Poirier to retain the belt?
Or McGregor. I think he matches up very well with Conor McGregor, by the way. If Charles gets Conor McGregor down, it's over.
Well, that's true, but Charles still, and, we can just kind of rotate from your question here into kind of the breakdown. Charles, still can be hit and can be rocked. We saw it in the first round of this fight. Now
he was nearly finished in that first round, Fight Geek.
Exactly. In previous fights, and in my prediction last week was based around the fact that, in previous fights that, Charles Oliveira hasn't reacted well to taking damage, and he's found ways out of a fight. So I think that was actually probably the biggest storyline of the fight, in my opinion, was him being able to come back. But yeah. Conor McGregor is a very powerful puncher, and you saw the kind of success Chandler had when he got his hands on him. So Conor would have a great shot while that fight was standing, I think, for sure.
Absolutely,
but, yeah,
absolutely. Okay,
I think that fight resembles, the Diaz fight a lot, but I don't know that, maybe Charles Oliveira is as durable as a Nate Diaz. But moving
it away from the speculation of a matchup between Oliveira
for sure.
and Poirier McGregor, just back to the Michael Chandler Oliveira fight, really quick. Here's my question. I wrote on Twitter that I thought that Michael Chandler had choked a bit. And I got a lot of feedback from that, some positive, some negative. I respect it all. But what I was getting at, Fight Geek, and this is what I wanted to ask you, is has someone ever gotten so close to a finish and then gotten stopped subsequently so quickly afterward? Maybe the answer is yes. I just can't think of it.
Of course. I mean, you ever seen Pat Barry versus Czech Congo? They almost killed each other 1 second after another. But yes,
that's a good example. Hey, that's a good example.
So, but what I'm saying is, I think choked is the incorrect word to use because Michael Chandler.
I don't mean it disrespectfully.
Michael Chandler had an excellent performance up until that moment. I mean, he really did.
He did.
He showed a lot. He got out of one of the nastiest subholds with using just pure strength in his wrestling technique. He showed monstrous power. I love how he crouches and throws body shots and comes up with the hooks. it's awesome to watch. So yeah, I thought Michael Chandler accounted well for himself. I will say that not in the vein of choking, but perhaps maybe he took a breath, thought that he was in control a little more than he was, and then he got popped with a real tricky left hook right in the beginning of the second round. So
what a clean left hook that was.
It was
right?
so clean, and then the fact that Chandler took it, backpedaled, and then it was almost a similar sequence to Poirier versus McGregor too, where you had Chandler kind of circling out against the cage, and then you just had Oliveira with walking him right into that left hand. Or just kind of hitting him square with that left hand. So, I mean, I don't know what to say on that one. I hate to say anyone choked because that was such an epic.
Yeah, I can agree with you that that's not the correct word.
I consider that arguably the most exciting lightweight title fight in history. So, I mean, that was amazing. I was on the absolute edge of my seat for the whole thing.
It was a great fight. Chandler came so close.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not mad at that outcome because you saw two guys really go after it, give their best. And it's not always who's better. It's more or less just how, who pulls the right card at the right time. Who knew that like a check left hook would put Michael Chandler on his ass? So, yeah, it's madness. It was awesome. I think both guys accounted well for themselves. And I think Charles Oliveira has every right in the world to call himself the undisputed champion right now. Khabib can come out of retirement any day if he wants to dispute that. That would be a mega fight. And otherwise, he's the sitting champion who's proved it at this point. 9-fight winning streak is hard to dispute.
Okay, I totally agree. I have to ask this before we move on to the co-main event. Charles Oliveira versus Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull in a hypothetical cross-promotional matchup. I want to know who wins. Who's the best lightweight right now who's active in the world? Because Khabib is not active. He's retired.
Well, I think Pitbull would knock out Charles Oliveira, honestly. But I think
you guys heard it here first.
Huh?
I said you guys heard it here first. Like Fight Geek is saying that the best
MMA,
champ is in Bellator.
The MMA math says that quite easily, doesn't it?
Sure, but it's MMA math, Fight Geek.
Right. But what I'm saying is still, the equation is there. I mean, Pitbull has the jiu-jitsu also to kind of nullify Charles Oliveira, and he possesses similar, if not more, punching power than Michael Chandler. And, I would say to this point his chin may be even a little more solid because Chandler has taken a few, KO losses, which to his credit, he loves to get in there and brawl, but, those do add up over time. So, yeah, Pitbull. But I would still favor Poirier over Pitbull, so I think Pitbull's the second best, honestly.
Okay. Now, really quick, what's next for Michael Chandler? He already announced to Chael Sonnen that he's looking to fight ASAP. I think you turn him around quick against Justin Gaethje.
I mean, didn't Gaethje say that he thought he was fighting him in the first place, and the contract got pulled. So yes. We have a storyline built in. As much as I would hate that fight, only because I want both of those fighters to win every time out. Yeah, that's an awesome fight. Makes a ton of sense. But I personally, and this could be a great segue, I really like Justin Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush, who I think deserves that kind of fight right now.
Okay, so moving on to Dariush defeating Tony Ferguson via unanimous decision. I believe it was 30-27 across the board in a dominant win. So Dariush said he wants to take the rest of the year off, I believe, because he's expecting a child.
Yeah, he did say that. No, I think he said he was interested in coming back in December. And again, that obviously doesn't work with Gaethje's timeline. But if I had it my way, that's the fight I'd like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you make of this? What'd you make of this fight? Darius defeats Ferguson. We both predicted it correctly. We both got the main event wrong, by the way. It's only fair. Full disclosure.
Again, I predicted a first-round knockout, and Charles Oliveira was a hair away from getting knocked out. So these predictions, I mean, I was happy that my prediction was wrong because being wrong ended up in
we got close. We both got close with the Chandler early knockout. But anyways, we did correctly both predict that Beneil Dariush would beat Tony Ferguson. My question is it how you predicted, or was it a little more dominant even?
Well, I mean, Obviously it was situationally dominant. He had like, what did he have? I think he had 11 plus minutes of top control in a 15-minute fight.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't land, much, ground and pound. He did threaten the submissions, but after just a couple, he was more or less just doing a positional battle, which he did a great job of, and it was incredibly frustrating seeing Tony just not have the vigor and the strength to really rally from that position. But no, I didn't think it was overly dominant. I mean, it was less dominant than Charles Oliveira versus Tony Ferguson. So
yeah, Darius did. I mean, Darius did a little bit of the blanket. No,
he certainly fought a very conservative and safe fight, and more power to him. He's got Tony Ferguson's scalp on his resume.
Of course, very fair.
But, Tony Ferguson's problems are a little deeper. From even the intros, I could tell he looks so stiff. It's almost – and then on the feet, I don't know if you remember when Tony was really at his prime versus Barbosa and RDA, he would just throw that front kick, and it would just hit you in the gut a lot. He would just really chip away you, and he wasn't – flinching and hesitant. And even in the first couple exchanges here, Tony he's not letting it go anymore, which leads me to believe that not only is physically he wearing down, but now his mentality and his confidence is affected, which absolutely sucks.
I was just going to say, I hate to say this, but I felt that, first of all, Tony's head movement did look improved.
Tony's defense was much better.
His defense was much better, but he looked hesitant to throw in a way that I think that Justin Gaethje got him afraid of the counter because he got countered so much in that Gaethje fight.
I mean, people give Justin Gaethje a ton of credit for that fight. I'm sure there are some lasting effects, but yeah, he's definitely, Tony's style is a free-flowing, unorthodox style where he could miss a straight right and then come with a spinning back left elbow in the same vein.
But I didn't see that at the same intensity with Neal.
Well, it's because he wouldn't commit to anything on the feet. He was moving backwards, and got taken down. Exactly. He was never able to get any momentum. And then the fact that he went for that Darius from a bad situation really tanked him, in my opinion. And then, the knee obviously was compromised to some extent. He wasn't exploding off of it or moving well. So, yeah, it was a rough performance. It's hard to give Darius, all the credit in the world. I see that the UFC actually moved Darius above Michael Chandler.
The rankings moved Darius up 6 spots.
He deserves to be above Tony Ferguson, but I don't believe Darius would beat Michael Chandler in a fight next
Darius is the number 3 contender. Only number 2 Justin Gaethje and number 1 Dustin Poirier are above him, and then, of course, Oliveira, the champion.
Especially considering he's getting that big jump on the heels of Tony had already lost 2 in a row. So that win is diminished in a certain extent.
Tony only went down, I thought it was interesting, Tony only went down 1 spot from 5 to 6.
I know, and I think that's concerning because I think that's going to keep him fighting guys that he should not be fighting right now. Tony Ferguson needs to go fight a guy in the 11 to 15 range that's not going to grapple with him, where he can try to reestablish his confidence.
Okay, so earlier I said I liked the idea of Tony Ferguson versus Cowboy 2 at 5 rounds, but I've got an even better idea, Fikey. Tell me what you think of this. Ready?
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee 2, 5 rounds.
No, why would you want that? Kevin Lee is a young, strong guy that's going to come back in shape. And he's a grappler who took
I'm a
Tony
big Kevin
down.
Lee fan.
He took Tony down in his prime. I mean,
listen, I love Tony. I love Tony to death, but
that's the worst matchmaking you could have possibly made.
I don't have any high hopes for Tony besides Cowboy 2. What else?
There's only 2 guys on the whole list he should fight, and it should be either Dan Hooker or Paul Felder.
You like those fights for him to win?
I don't like him. No, I don't like the fights for him, but Dan Hooker just got melted by Michael Chandler and is having confidence issues
Ferguson
as well.
Ferguson versus Felder, Ferguson versus Hooker, those are both nightmares for Tony.
Dude, Paul Felder's not a grappler, and he fights once a year. It's not like he's going to come in and be world beaters. Is that a tough matchup for Tony? I'm sure it is, but you got to give Tony someone of name value considering he's still 6. So, yeah, Dan Hooker, who's lost 2 in a row and just got absolutely starched. You're looking at 2 guys who are trending down in a crossroads fight. Both have names. Both bring it. I mean, Dan Hooker has a good mouthpiece, too. He's a good trash talker. Him and Tony would be an exciting lead-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
I think if for a guy who says he's a Tony fan to put him in there with Kevin Lee after he's 0-3.
All right. Then how about Tony versus Cowboy 2?
The only reason I don't like that is because
Why?
Cowboy is a zero barometer of anything. Tony will beat Cowboy, but it will tell us nothing.
He needs that W, and Cowboy needs to get put to pasture.
Well, either way, I'd rather Tony find out in his next fight against Dan Hooker or Paul Felder if there's anything left, because otherwise.
Then who does Cowboy fight? Who does Cowboy fight?
Well, Cowboy shouldn't get a top 15 guy anymore. Cowboy's horrible.
Then why is dude? He's got to. Okay, we can go in circles. He's got to get a top 15. I mean, he's here. He's uninvited.
He's not. Why? Well, here's the thing. If the UFC and Cowboy Cerrone want to go out on a victory, which is what I'm assuming they want to do, they cannot give him anyone in the top 15. Fact.
No, Cowboy's not going to retire if he wins. What are we talking about here, Fight?
No, I'm saying every fighter. You gotta listen. Keep up, Phil.
I'm trying to keep up, but you're not making any sense here.
What do you mean?
Cowboy's not going to retire if he wins.
Every fighter wants to retire on a victory. They don't want to go out on a 6-fight skid.
And I want to marry Zoe Saldana. We don't always get what we want.
Well, if you give Cowboy the number 30th ranked lightweight, then maybe he can go out with a victory and we can stop worrying about him.
Make him okay. What about Cowboy versus Drew Dober? Come on.
No, Drew Dober destroys him.
I'm aware.
Well, and then we have to watch Cowboy for another fight. You don't understand wanting to go out on a victory? That concept's too advanced for you?
The concept that he's going to win and then retire is delusional to me and shocking that you would believe that.
Well, if they give him John McDessie, he could maybe go out on a victory.
He's not going to do that, bro.
What do you mean? Yeah, he will. He'll do something like that. That's his only choice.
He's going to lose. If he wins, he's going to win and he's going to say, well, I just won. Let's keep going.
Well, no, I don't think that'll happen. But we got to keep it moving. We're falling way behind.
Let's keep it moving. All right. Kaylin Chookagian beat Vivian Araujo on an impressive unanimous decision.
Classic Chookagian boring point fight, right?
Yeah, insert Twitter joke here about her likes. Hey, she likes what she likes, people. I've got nothing but respect for it.
I'm just surprised that it's that exciting to others.
Hey,
that was a really exciting revelation this week.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, Edson Barbosa defeats Shane Burgos versus TKO right hook at 1 minute and 16 seconds of round number 3. That was one of the craziest KOs I ever saw, Fight Geek. What'd you think of it? Delayed reaction to the max, right?
It almost, the only thing I could compare it to was Rory McDonald kind of shutting down after taking all that nose damage. That was the most similar thing I've seen.
It's a good call.
But it was nasty. But if you really, I had to watch back the combo to make sure like I knew what I was seeing. So it was like he hit him on the temple with a straight left, or no, he hit him on the forehead with a straight left, and then he hit him on the temple with a right hook, right? Combo.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he took a back step, and then he kind of just lost his equilibrium and just went flying towards the cage. So yeah, it was completely crazy, but I don't know what to say. Everybody knew that was going to be fight of the night. Burgos brings it, and then Barbosa, he's looking good at 145, man. That was an impressive performance.
How tough is Shane Burgos? I mean,
too tough for his own good.
He literally his mind said, "Let's keep going," and his body just shut down.
The shots he ate in the first round were like otherworldly.
Okay, so here's my question for you, Edson Barbosa. He jumped 4 spots to the number 9 contender at featherweight. This is the fight that I want for him, and I want your thoughts. I think he should fight the winner of Dan Ige versus the Korean Zombie.
Oh, really? That's not a bad one. Not a bad one at all.
Another option, number 10, Giga Chikadze.
That's what I was going to go for. But how about this? Isn't Josh Emmett close to a comeback?
Yeah, and he's at number 6. Ooh, Josh Emmett. That could be one.
Josh Emmett versus Edson Barbosa. Josh Emmett's a power puncher and a great wrestler, and Barbosa's Barbosa. So that could be a headliner on a fight night 100%.
Man, featherweight is getting...
featherweight's crazy.
It's very stacked. It's
just
a busy,
imagine if someday we could get Edson Barbosa and Yair Rodriguez striking together in a cage.
Wow. That'd be fun.
That would be beautiful.
That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, all right. So I'm trying to see what. Oh, quickly, got to touch on Andre Muniz defeating Giacore Sosa via inverted armbar. 3 minutes 59 seconds around number one. Broke Giacore's arm. He could hear the break.
Yeah, that was nasty stuff, man. And again, I don't know what you say about that. Those dudes. Was he verbally tapping, or was he just like, take my arm?
I'm trying to remember whether he tapped or not, but I know
I didn't watch it back too many times.
I know, yeah, no. I only know that's the thing. I could only see it once after I heard the break, and then Rogan was, you can hear the break, do a replay, and he, and I turned it to mute. I'm not here for that. But what I can tell you is that Giacore Sosa took it so well. He was so tough about it.
Just think about Giacore Sosa coming up and
he was talking to Andre Muniz after the fight, congratulating him like he was okay.
The jiu-jitsu ranks.
He was talking to Andre after the fight like, oh, we just had a friendly chess match. Bro, your arm is broken as hell.
Yeah, man.
How tough is he? Just how tough is he?
Yeah, it happens. You ever seen?
I just think it's credit to them, and you see, soccer players in Europe, football players, and they're falling down after they're tripped with the soccer ball, and they're really hurt on the ground for 10 minutes, and Giacore Sosa's shaking this dude's hand with a broken arm. Yeah,
big nog too.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Any other fights you wanted to call out? We got to move on, but really quick, Andrea KGB Lee defeated Antonina Shevchenko via triangle armbar at 4:52 of round number 2.
Yep, I called KGB to win this one. I thought she'd be the more powerful fighter last week, and we all know that Antonina struggles on the ground. So, yeah, I think KGB Lee is a player in that division. So, yeah, good win for her.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts on who's next for KGB Lee? She's number 11. She's the number 11 contender. She did not move up or down with her victory.
What's crazy is that I think she should be much higher than number 11 personally, but
she beat I think at the time number 12 Antonina. Antonina went down to number 15, by the way. So I think that's part of the reason. But okay, who's next for KGB Lee? I say Vivian Araujo or Jessica I.
Well, why Vivian Araujo is coming off a loss though? Why would
she's the number 8 contender. Or Jessica I, number 7.
I think Jessica I is probably a better fight based on name value.
Okay, very fair.
And it's a winnable fight for Andrea Lee for sure.
Yup, absolutely. And okay, are we ready to move on?
Let's go.
All right. So really quickly, Bellator 259 coming up this week. Cyborg versus Smith 2. I've got Cyborg winning this via second round knockout. Just want to hear your prediction.
Yeah, pretty similar. I'm taking Cyborg by stoppage. Don't think, Leslie Smith, who Cyborg, didn't she explode her ear the first time they fought?
I believe so. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Leslie Smith is going to be, much trouble for Cyborg at all. It might even be a first-round finish. But let's call out a couple of these other fights on this card because they're pretty good. Darien Caldwell versus Leandro Hego is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Got any thoughts there?
I think Caldwell's going to get it done via decision.
Yes, I see that too. Probably very grappling heavy. Caldwell's had a couple bad losses. The AJ McKee, is it AJ McKee? Yeah, the submission loss from the bottom, I think. So he'll have something to prove here. That should be fun. Fabian Edwards versus Austin Vanderford. This is a great fight of two of the best prospects on Bellator's roster.
That is a fun one. That's actually that's not really getting talked about too much, is it?
No, it's not. But this is one of my most anticipated.
Break it down. Who you got?
It's tough. It's real tough.
Fabian Edwards 9-1, Austin 10-0.
Training with a world class, welterweight all the time. But I like Austin Vanderford. I think he's going to be able to implement the wrestling. He's serviceable enough on the feet. He's obviously well coached. He's super physical. So yeah, Austin Vanderford via decision.
Am I crazy for saying they should have made Fabian Edwards versus Austin Vanderford the co-main event over Caldwell Hego?
Well, this is just Tapology. We don't even know the right order. That could be.
Nah,
The first.
Tapology's usually pretty good. It's listing main
No,
and
it's
co-main.
not. I mean, it's not. It's pretty good, but it's not accurate every week, especially on a Bellator card. You never know. That could be on the prelims for some reason.
Okay. I think Tapology is a little more accurate than that, but okay, all right.
All right, let's see. Anything else? Saad Awad's fighting Tyree Fortune, Aviv Ghazali, Valerie Lareda. So they got names up and down the fight card. It should be a good one.
Yeah, Lareda being fed another can, a 2-1.
Well, it's a 3-0
Hannah Guy, the number 2 women in Mississippi.
Hey, Mississippi's got some tough broads, dude.
Yeah, why don't you name one other?
I'm just going
I know, but that's my point. Like, what are they doing here? Okay.
Well, Valerie Lareda's 3-0. You act like she's some world beater.
I saw someone write that they thought Valerie Lareda could beat Tracy Cortez, and I got so mad.
There's no proof of that yet. But
I was like,
no,
that's
she's
insanity. Good. Okay, all right. Are we ready to move on to UFC Vegas 27, Font versus Garbrandt, preview and picks?
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's do it. Font versus Garbrandt, preview and picks.
This is a really fun main event.
It really is, but before that, we're going to start at the first fight of the main card. Jack Hermansson takes on Edmund Shabazian.
Again, this should be the co-main on this card.
I agree.
For the record. I think this is a wash. Jack Hermansson is going to be way too much for Edmund Shabazian. I'm a big Jack Hermansson guy. He's made some very good fighters, elite fighters, look horrible. So I think, Edmund's still kind of finding himself after a bad performance, and I think Hermansson's going to take advantage of that. I'm going to go Jack first round submission.
Dang it. Man. I'm very annoyed when I don't like that. I've got Jack via first round submission.
Oh, that's boring. All right.
Wait, by the way, real quick, does Dana hate Edmund? Like, what's the deal? What a cruel matchup. Give the guy a break. No?
Yeah, I mean, he lost the grappling to Derek Brunson. And
when I saw that matchup, I was like, what did poor Edmund do?
Well, I don't know. Who manages Edmund? Is it the same guy who's managing Ronda or what?
I'm sure it is. So
yeah, because they need to take little,
That's poor management for sure.
But if he were to beat Jack Hermansson at 8, that's a big jump. But that is a tough matchup.
I hate that matchup for him. I hate it for him.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. David Dvorak versus Rowling Paiva.
This is going to be a sneaky, fun action fight, in my opinion, and I'm taking Rowling Paiva.
Interesting. I'm taking David Dvorak.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this fight for like 15, 20 minutes. So,
give me Dvorak via
close.
Unanimous decision.
Huh?
I said give me Dvorak via unanimous decision.
I wouldn't bet on that fight, though.
No. Oh, by the way, guys, it's Dvorak is 19-3, Paiva 20-3. Woo!
Yeah.
That's going to be some good fights here.
Yeah, and got to give the UFC credit. I mean, the matchmaking the last year and a half has been unbelievable. I mean, you get when you look at these fights and try to break them down, so many of these fights are so close to break down. It's crazy.
I totally agree. Moving on to another, honestly, very, very good fight. Featherweight bout. Felicia Spencer, 8-2 versus 5-1 Norma Dumont.
Yeah, this is a good one. I'm going to go Felicia Spencer. I think Felicia Spencer, obviously she's got losses to Chris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes, but she's been in there with arguably the 2 greatest fighters to ever walk the planet, and this is kind of set up for her to bounce back, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm taking Felicia Spencer here. I don't really have I don't know if I'm calling a submission, but I think it'll probably be a decision.
Submission first round, Felicia Spencer. And let me just say one thing here. Guys, people underestimate Felicia Spencer. She might be the most underrated female fighter in the world, in fact.
I agree with that.
Look at her 2 losses. Cyborg and Nunez.
And she went the distance with both of them, and they both kill everyone.
Right. Exactly.
She's incredibly tough.
She could be the future if Nunez retires.
Hear me out here. I'll say this. I believe someday Felicia Spencer will be the person that Kayla Harrison ends up challenging for the featherweight title.
If that happens, that will be a bad day for Kayla Harrison.
Says Phil. But anyways, I think that could be in our future someday. Or maybe
You're
that's
pretty
just
impressed with Kayla's decision wins over the PFL gals, huh? At 155. At 155.
Keep it moving, Phil.
Okay.
You're a broken record, my friend.
Right. Whatever you say. Okay, Justin Tafa versus Jared Vandera.
Way too high on the card.
Yeah, no idea why
Tafa.
that's the third highest fight, but I got Tafa too.
Yeah, all right.
Let's keep it moving. Carla Esparza versus Yan Xiaonan, the co-main event. This is a great
number one
fight.
Contender fight as far as
Number
I'm
one
concerned.
contender. Winner will almost certainly face Rose Namajunas, in my opinion. Great fight.
Yeah, I'll give you dibs. Go ahead.
All right. I've got Yan Xiaonan winning via unanimous decision. She's 13-1 from China. China rising, right? We're seeing a lot of great fighters, especially female fighters, coming out of China right now. No, but male as well. And Yan Xiaonan is the latest one, and I see her grinding out a unanimous decision victory over Carla Esparza.
Yeah, I more or less see the same thing. I do think Carla is a live dog here, probably, though, just because she is so experienced, tough, and has some grappling. But, yeah, I think, is it Jean?
Yes.
Is the new wave. So I'm rolling with her, and that I think it should set her up with a fight with Rose.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, moving on to the main event. Cody No Love Garbrandt versus Rob Font. This is a fun one. I went first last time, so you can do the honors. Who you got?
All right. Tough one, but, Cody hasn't won me back over. Rob Font's the bigger guy. Rob Font throws straight, hard punches and hits very hard for the weight class. I think he's going to catch Cody in the second round and knock him out.
I had a feeling you were going to say something like that, picking Font fairly early, and I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you, Fight Geek.
Well, you're the guy who owns the No Love shirt, so you should.
That's not anyone's business. Why did you have to? Okay, anyways, I got Cody No Love Garbrandt via ready. Third round TKO. I know he leaves his chin up. I know he fights like an idiot. But he's also got a mean right, and I think it's gonna.
You know that in his last 3 fights, Rob Font has beat Bellator champion Sergio Pettis, Ricky Simone, and former UFC champ Marlon Moraes via punches. Right.
First of all, Ricky Simone is not impressive, so let's not.
What are you talking about? Ricky Simone's 15-2, and he's super tough with a high pace.
Uriah Faber beat him like dinosaur Faber.
That was a long time ago. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. You're the same guy.
Cody Garbrandt was the champion who danced circles around Dominic Cruz, man. Come on, what are we talking about here?
What are we talking about here? A guy on a 3-fight winning streak who's like 26 years old. You're acting like he's no good.
You're acting like Garbrandt didn't just sleep a Sunsao.
Yeah, who's 35 years old.
Wow. All right. Wow, you feel strongly about Rob Font winning this, huh?
Oh, yes, I feel pretty strongly about it. Clearly, Cody's, very, very talented, but you think he's going to guard his chin for 12 minutes until he finds Rob Font, who's taller with a longer reach, and
I think it's a coin flip fight. I think it's like a 52-48 for Cody. That's how I see it. It's a coin.
No way. I think the percentage is clear.
Avoid gambling on it, people.
Rob Font has all the advantages. What are you talking about?
Okay. All right. So you're just kind of acting like Cody wasn't the champ.
No, Cody was the champ, but
and he's very young. What are you saying? He's like gotten too old?
No, I'm just saying he doesn't wear damage well, and Rob Font hits really hard for the weight class. I don't see how that's a good thing. Not only that, but I think Rob Font has a significant reach advantage. It's 65.5 for Cody to 71.
Okay, you know what? There's so much trash talk going on this fight. You know what? I want to put out a little friendly bet here. The loser has to try to sing for 10 seconds on the next show. You say you got Font, I got Cody, okay?
I just want to say one more thing.
Is that a deal? Is that a deal? Loser sings. Loser sings for 10 seconds.
Whatever, loser sings, fine. But Rob Font has a 6-inch reach advantage on Cody, who gets hit a lot. That's my final point.
All right, fair enough. Cody,
you ready
please,
to go on to listener questions or what?
Please, Cody, please don't screw this up for me. God knows no one wants to hear me sing. Okay.
I want you.
Yep.
You better wear your No Love shirt on Saturday.
Oh, I'm wearing it. And it's an extra small.
You better tweet it out. Prove it.
Extra small, baby. Just how I like it. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to be taking a quick break, and then we'll be right back with listener questions and more. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude letting you know that this episode of the Split Decision Podcast is brought to you by TotalAggressionClothing.com. Visit www.TotalAggressionClothing.com and use the promo code 46210 to receive a special Split Podcast discount on all Total Aggression hats, shirts, hoodies, and more. Again, that's www.TotalAggressionClothing.com with promo code 46210. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 102, here with my brilliant co-host, the Fight Geek, and it is now time for my favorite section of all, and that is Listener Questions! Thank you.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so first question comes from, I love this one so much, our main man, Eduardo, that's at Landa Crew. He says, can you name your proudest MMA fight prediction? A pick you got right that everyone thought you were crazy for predicting. Hashtag AskSplitPod. Fight Geek, start us off.
I mean, I'm not off the top of my head, unfortunately. The one that rings a bell is actually pretty recently. I pegged that Neal Magney versus Jeff Neal fight pretty much on the head, so that one felt good. I have some recency bias, but a lot of people were high on Neal, and I clearly saw Magney, outpacing him and staying on top of him.
Okay, well, I think this shows a big difference between me and Fight Geek, sort of how good we are predicting, because I've got quite a few that I wrote out. First of all, Jan defeats Adesanya by decision. Most recently, you taunted me for that, for saying that Jan would beat Adesanya by decision. I called that. Jack Hermanson, the Joker, defeating Giacore Sosa. I was taunted for that in April 2019.
You got dates, man.
Khabib defeats Conor on episode 4. I was taunted for that. Ngannou defeats Stipe 2. I called that long ago. So, yeah.
You're acting like these are such hard calls. But anyways, you got anything that's a little more tough to call?
Jack Hermanson defeating Giacore at the time. No one thought that but me. No one.
All right, we'll give you that one.
Jan versus Adesanya by decision. You were like, by decision, there's no way.
Well, it has nothing. Your fate don't have to do with my perspective of your views. Why do all your picks have to be proving me wrong to be your favorite?
Wasn't that the question?
No. Which ones are you most proud of? Not which ones did you prove me wrong?
Oh, well, that's directly correlated.
I'm glad I can help you out with that.
Okay. Do you have one, or am I going?
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. This question comes from my man, Tabs. Love this guy. Guys, give him a follow. That's at TABZ1172. What a week. So, Oliveira's champ. My question is, how long do you think he's going to be champ for? We've got Gaethje, Conor, Dustin, and Chandler all looking for the title. How long does Oliveira defend that belt? Great question, Tabs.
It is a great question, and I don't think he defends it.
You don't think he successfully defends it once?
No, I think he'll lose his belt next, because I believe Poirier is going to beat Conor, and then I believe Poirier is going to fight for the title, and I've been saying I believe Poirier is the best lightweight, so I can't go back on that.
Wait, there's a question about Poirier McGregor 3. I don't want to get too into.
All right, so yes, I don't anticipate him defending the belt.
I agree with you. I want to clarify, he will attempt to defend it, just won't successfully.
He's going to have a fight, for sure.
Well, like, for example, McGregor never attempted to defend a belt. But I do agree with you that Oliveira will fail to successfully defend it.
And let's say, just because we've had the same talking points forever, let's say Poirier or Conor take too much damage or something and they're not able to fight in a quick turnaround. Let's say the Gaethje versus Chandler fight happens and Gaethje has a quick knockout and takes no damage. We could see Charles Oliveira versus Gaethje next, and I would like Gaethje's chances versus Oliveira.
Yeah, I would too. Although that's a fascinating fight because as we've seen, Gaethje is kind of shockingly bad when forced onto the ground. At least.
Oh, he's shockingly bad.
Well, from what I saw with his fight with Khabib.
The one guy in the history of the world that does that. Okay, that's not fair to say.
Dustin and even Conor. Dustin and Conor both did better on the ground.
Who cares?
Against Khabib.
If you watch the Gaethje fight, Gaethje did better on the feet. He was killing Khabib with the legs.
I didn't deny that.
Well, what I'm saying is you come with these negative statements. Why don't you state what actually happened? Gaethje actually was hurting Khabib.
Gaethje did do well on the feet against Khabib.
Of course he did. And there's not one person in the history of Khabib's career who has done anything on the ground with him. I don't care that Conor posted for 4 minutes on his hand.
Dustin had a pretty good guillotine on him.
Well, I know, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen. Dustin jumps guillotine and does that kind of stuff all the time throughout his career, and it rarely pays off.
Fair. Okay. All right. We ready to move on to the next question?
Yes.
Okay. This is from our man at I'm Luke, I think. What's up, Luke? How does Prime Bj Penn do against the top 6 lightweights right now and Khabib? I've always felt BJ at his best mops the floor with them all. That is such a fun question and a very bold statement, I may say, Luke. But I like the boldness and I like the question. So, Fight Geek, you want to go first? What do you think?
Sorry, I muted you. I'm back. I was just yelling at myself for a second. Let's go from 6
Why were you
down.
yelling at yourself? Is everything okay?
Well, I was really yelling at you. But
is it because you're getting your butt kicked on the episode? I don't want to be too.
You'd love to think that.
I can go easier on you, bro. Just text me. I'll go easier.
Stay on task, Phil. We're having a conversation.
I just got the text. Okay, I'll go easier on you. My bad.
All right, Prime Tony Ferguson versus Prime BJ Penn. That's a very close fight. Who do you got?
Ooh, Prime versus Prime? I don't know. That's Prime versus Prime. That's an amazing fight. I think I have to take BJ Penn by the slightest of margins.
I completely disagree because they both have similar skill sets, and Tony has an exponentially better gas tank in his prime than a 155 BJ Penn did. All right, let's keep it moving.
BJ hit harder than Tony. I'll say that, though.
He does, but they would nullify each other, and BJ had a way of fighting where he wanted to box.
Okay.
Even though he was super good on the ground, he would use it when he had to, when he was put in bad situations. But BJ Penn wanted to be a primary boxer and smack you up on the feet.
Okay. McGregor versus Prime BJ Penn. Again, I think
BJ Penn.
You say Prime BJ Penn wins that?
Yes, because Conor McGregor's big strength is his punching power. BJ Penn in his prime was incredibly durable. He fought, Lyoto Machida at heavyweight and beat Matt Hughes at welterweight. So he was used to fighting bigger men and taking.
I must agree.
Crazy damage, and he was so good with a rubber guard in all of his jiu-jitsu, he would have subbed Conor easily. Michael Chandler versus BJ Penn in their prime.
BJ Penn, come on.
Yeah, BJ Penn. Beneil Darius versus BJ
Penn, come on.
Justin Gaethje versus BJ Penn is a very close fight.
Ooh, now we're getting real tricky.
Justin Gaethje takes this with leg kicks and cardio, defensive wrestling.
I despise agreeing with Fight Geek, guys. You know that, but I have to agree with him. I think Gaethje takes it.
Dustin Poirier versus BJ Penn.
I think Poirier takes it if he can survive early. I think he takes it.
I don't, because again, Dustin Poirier is primarily a boxer, so it's going to be a boxing match more or less. But Dustin Poirier has a much deeper gas tank and can go much longer. If you remember BJ...
No, I know. I just said Poirier wins.
Oh, okay. I thought you said BJ there.
No. Dustin Poirier wins.
So I think that little and against Khabib, I don't like BJ's chances at all, but he did sub Matt Hughes from the bottom at welterweight, which makes it incredibly...
Whoa.
Or no, he got Matt Hughes' back, excuse me.
Hold on. What about the real lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira?
Oh, yeah, Charles Oliveira. I think BJ Penn hurts Charles Oliveira on the feet and nullifies the jiu-jitsu. I think BJ Penn would beat Charles Oliveira in his prime.
I agree. So I think we somewhat agree that Poirier and Gaethje would beat Prime BJ Penn. You said Prime Tony Ferguson would beat BJ Penn.
Yes, due to the cardio and the pace. BJ did not. BJ started to wear badly mid the second round, and that's when Tony. Think about the Barbosa and the RDA Tony, where he's fucking dancing in the third and fourth round, where he's beating the hell out of you. I know we've seen Tony in a vacuum recently look bad, but Tony Ferguson was frightening, having a ball elbowing you into submission.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, are we ready to move on to the next question?
Is it bad that I want to keep going? Can we do one more? Prime Rafael Dos Anjos versus Prime BJ Penn.
Ooh,
I'll take Rafi.
Yeah, I'm honestly taking RDA here. Styles make fights.
But what I do say is this still puts BJ Penn as a top 5 or 6 lightweight ever, so that's still impressive. Maybe even top 4 or 5.
Whoa, are you kidding me? Hold on. Just because these matchups aren't necessarily all good for him, I say BJ Penn, Fight Geek, is the second best lightweight of all time behind Khabib. He had 3 lightweight title defenses. That's tied with Khabib.
Yeah, well, look at who the defenses were, and also BJ Penn was 5-5 in title fights. He lost 2 title fights to Frankie Edgar, who is not even, who's not even in the weight class anymore, but I think probably should still be all-time rated higher than BJ Penn for the simple fact that he beat BJ Penn in his absolute apex prime.
BJ Penn gets incredible disrespect, obviously, because of the end of his career.
I'm telling you right now, BJ Penn was my second favorite fighter when I got into MMA. It was Tito Ortiz and BJ Penn. Those were my 2 favorite fighters. I know BJ Penn's career as good as any human alive. I've seen every second of it.
And you don't think he'd beat? You don't think in his prime he'd beat Tony Ferguson, huh? You really don't?
I think the Tony Ferguson, the beat up Rafael Dos Anjos, gives prime BJ Penn big problems.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Look at what Nick Diaz, who is Tony Ferguson and Nick Diaz stylistically are similar, and Nick Diaz battered BJ Penn.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, so. Next question.
Awesome question. I love when we throw the throwbacks in.
Yeah, it was a great one. Okay, this is from Juice from Friendly Sparring Podcast at Friendly Spar Pod. What's up, Juice? He says, #AskSplitPod. What does a rematch between Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira look like? Ooh, fun one.
That's an amazing question. I saw that you chimed in and said that you didn't think it would be at 155, but
no, I didn't say that. I said I'm assuming it's at 155.
But it's not. It's at 145.
Wait, what are you talking about? Why would it happen?
Charles Oliveira has already been quoted as saying that he's not against going to 145 for a champ type ordeal. So what I'm saying is
he can't make 145 anymore. 155 is a tough cut.
Nobody cares what you think. If the
I know for a fact that 155 is a tough cut for Charles. Are you trying to tell me that that's wrong?
No, first of all, you don't know for a fact anything. You're not in his sauna cutting weight with him.
He told me last week. I exchanged texts with Charles.
Oh, yeah, you and him were on the treadmill last weekend.
Okay,
together,
just chill out. You really think Charles can make 145 still? Come on, man.
I'm not saying he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying he himself, who knows his body and knows his intention, is alluding to it. So I'm going to take his word over you, because you know for a fact from
I just know that 55 is a tough cut for him.
It is, but I also know that Max has proven that he's not a 155er. So for him to come up makes no sense. Max is in line for a title shot or a super fight. He's not going to come to 155.
Okay. So look, I think that we know that Charles struggles with 155. I believe that Max's struggles at 155 are largely exaggerated. He took the Dustin Poirier 2 fight on late notice. He did not have time to build muscle properly for 155, making him look smaller than I believe he could be.
But why would he want that fight at 155?
And he still lost 3-2. He lost 3 rounds to 2. But he doesn't have any
advantages at 155. He's giving up all of his advantages.
So you think Holloway has no successful future?
I'm not saying I do not think Max Holloway is a lightweight right now at all.
Well, of course he's not right now.
Well, I'm saying I don't
of
think
course
he should
he's
fight
not
at
right
lightweight.
now.
Maybe when he's in his mid-30s and he's got 30 featherweight fights and he's tired of cutting weight, sure, then maybe he can, or, dabble into the lightweight division and see what the landscape is. But right now, he's arguably the greatest featherweight to ever walk the planet. I don't need to see him in lightweight fights.
Okay, all right. Well, we're arguing about that too much. Now let's talk about the fight. Holloway versus Oliveira. Let's say it's at featherweight. Who you got?
Max Holloway.
By how? 5-round fight.
Stoppage. No, maybe not stoppage. Max Holloway versus via unanimous decision. Yeah.
I got Holloway winning a unanimous decision if the fight's at featherweight. If the fight's at lightweight, I've got, ready? Holloway via split decision.
Yeah,
Boom.
Lightweight, it's a much tougher
Whatever,
fight,
I still have Holloway winning it split decision.
Well, that's impressive. Yeah, that's an interesting fight, but I would much rather see it at 145. There's no reason for Max to float out of his weight class.
Charles cannot make 145 anymore. I'm telling you, man. I know you don't agree. That's fair.
Well, let's say Max wins the belt and then Charles comes down. You don't think? I mean, that's a big fight.
No, it'd be great. Oh, listen, I would love it. Please don't get me wrong. I'd love that fight. I'm telling you, in my opinion.
But Oliveira, yeah.
I don't think Charles can make it. I don't think he can make 145 anymore.
All right, well, let's get to the next one. You got anything queued up?
All right. This next question comes from one of the Split podcast OGs. That's Jalen Ware. That's at Strive2B_GR8. Great. He says, we all know styles make fights. Stylistically, if Esparza beats Yan Xiaonan, can she duplicate what she did to Rose to win tough? Or should the UFC look to give Marina Rodriguez that next shot? Anything but a Wiley immediate rematch, please. #AskSplitPod.
Yeah, I like this one. If Esparza can beat Jean and duplicate what she did, can she duplicate what she did to Rose? No, I don't think so. I think Rose is much too technical and much, she's so well-schooled and much further along in her career now. I think she would give Esparza big problems with her, her footwork, takedown defense, and obviously on the feet. I feel like she would light Esparza up at this point. So with that being said, no. Tough.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if with that being said, if Esparza wins, she absolutely deserves the title shot over Marina, in my opinion.
Okay. My question is, if Jan beats... So I guess I think what Jalen's partly asking is, if Jan beats Esparza, should they give Jan the fight or Marina Rodriguez?
Oh, Jan, for sure.
I agree. Okay, I happen to agree.
But Marina Rodriguez is still there, but I think we mentioned last week, I think she's one more big win away. Amanda Hebus is a nice prospect. Michelle Watterson's undersized. She hasn't lost to Carla Esparza, so yeah, she's still one big win away from actually solidifying that title shot as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, next question comes from my man, Zanbando99. He says, what is your guys' favorite tough season and why, and what are your expectations for season 29? #AskSplitPod. So I'll take this first. Look, I've got several favorite seasons of tough. I have not seen all of them. I've seen about 80% of them. Obviously, that first season with, Diego was pretty untouchable. But I really liked, in terms of recent seasons, I really liked the McGregor-Faber season when they were the two coaches for some reason. Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei season was classic as well. What's my expectations for season 29, which is Brian Ortega versus Alexander Volkanovski? Honestly, not too high, certainly in terms of coach-on-coach drama. Those two are pretty chill folks, but I don't dislike tough like most others. I actually welcome it, and I like the show, and I'm looking forward to it. What about you, Fight Geek?
Yeah, well, I'll probably watch it. I'll tape it and just watch it when I have free time. I'm not going to make time for it each week. I'm not that into it anymore. But if I had to go off my favorite seasons, season 1 is a no-brainer. Obviously, season 2 is a big one for me because Tito was the coach. And while Tito's was my favorite fighter and is a little bit of a a moron. He actually was a very good coach and one of the best coaches ever on Tough. So that was fun.
A little bit of a moron, a lot of bit of a moron, but yeah.
But he's a great coach. And then one of my personal favorites was Michael Bisping versus Jason Mayhem Miller, just because I love both of their personalities so much. It was hilarious. Bisping is he hadn't quite turned the corner and become a fan favorite yet. He was still kind of the British bad boy, smartass. And Mayhem Miller's mayhem. So it was fun all the way around. I like that.
Yep. Absolutely well said. Okay, are we ready for the next question?
Yes, we are.
All right, this is from Matt at GoGo Safa. That's at GoGo Safa MMA. What's up, Matt? He says, "What's up, Phil? What's up, Mr. Fight Geek? Do you agree with Beneil Darius that from a fighting perspective, he would be a better title fight pick than the Dustin Connor winner? Here's why. Charles and his team would only have to watch Khabib fights and implement a similar strategy around Charles, so I think it could be an easy Charles win. What are your thoughts?"
No. I think there's a little too much. I mean,
Beneil, for anyone who doesn't know, Beneil tried to make a case earlier today that he is most deserving of the next lightweight title shot over the Dustin Connor winner.
Yeah, I mean, that's I can't defend that in any way. Clearly not. No.
I mean, gotta give him credit for trying, right?
Well, you gotta try for sure. But
honestly, I just kind of smile at it. Hey, he tried. I don't hate him for throwing it out and trying.
But I don't understand. So he's saying all Charles would have to do is watch the Khabib fights and implement a similar strategy.
I think he's saying that. I think he's saying from his perspective that Khabib and Charles have similar-esque styles.
Well,
there's some truth to that. There's some truth. But yeah, I mean, I respect.
One's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu player who's turned into a very athletic striker. The other is primarily a Russian grappler, Dagestani grappler. So no, I don't think they're similar at all. Actually, just my personal take.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because I think this is also part of his question. Is does Darius have a chance? Would Darius have a chance against Charles?
Yes, he would. I think the one thing about Darius is that before this past weekend in the Tony fight, he's super unpredictable. He's landed spinning back fists. He's been in some crazy back and forth wars. I think he could definitely get into some crazy exchanges with Charles and land a damaging shot. He's done it before. So, yeah, I think he could beat Charles. Would I favor him? No, but, I think he certainly possesses some of the attributes to beat Charles. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do agree. I agree with you that, I mean, just for the record, I think it's a fun idea, but do I think Beneil deserves a title shot next? No. Do I think he'll get a title shot next? No. I think that he's got to do it, get at least one more big top 5 win. But, he's close.
And it's just those guys at the top. I mean, it's going to be hard to unseat Poirier, Gaethje, and McGregor without beating one of them. Like, you're not going to hop those guys. They're the biggest names in the division today and some of the greatest fighters ever of all time in that division. So you're not just going to be like, yo, I'm hopping those 3.
Absolutely. No. Absolutely. Okay, so this next question comes from Mace. That's at Mason Johnson. He says, any early predictions for the Dustin Connor winner versus Charles? #AskSplitPod. Love it. You want to go first, or should I go first?
Dustin Poirier via split decision.
Wow, I got Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier via 3rd round knockout.
And those are very early. We'll get to that.
Very early, but that's how I see it going. You've got it via split decision, huh?
Yeah, Connor is really, Connor has shown in his rematch with Nate that he will come back and be able to adapt and be better defensively, I think, especially with the kicks. And, yeah, I think it'll be a nip and tuck fight. He'll be in it and ready to go to war. But I think that, again, Dustin's big strength, other than, his boxing, is his mettle and his toughness and his longevity. And that dude has outlasted basically everyone over the last few years. Obviously, Khabib doesn't count because Khabib did what he did to everyone. But other than that, Dustin Poirier outlasts everyone. And that's kind of what what I'm banking on there.
Absolutely. Okay, so does that take care of it for everything, for our listener questions?
I'm just going to jump over to Instagram and double check, but maybe so.
Okay, while Fight Geek is double checking, everyone, if you like the show, if you could give us a subscribe, hit the quick 5-star rating, share our podcast with a friend. It all makes a huge difference. If you'd like the show to continue, please share with friends, spread the love. Much appreciated. Thank you guys so much for listening. And Fight Geek, do we have anything else?
Nope, we're good to go.
Okay, then at that, Fight Geek, take us away.
All right, as usual, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. I'm at the Fight Geek MMA. He's at Phil the MMA Dude. We are at Split_podcast. It's 4 words, the Split Decision Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Peace.
Peace.